Now we're going to look a little further into text formatting. We've used font family. Now we're going to take a look at font size, font weight, and font style. So let me make my window a little smaller here. And again, we can use a resource like W3 Schools. You can use Chapter 5 Marking Up Text. I'm going to go to W3 Schools, and specifically in Learning CSS, I'm going to choose the fonts category. And again, this is just a wonderful resource for learning. So there's font families, okay? And I believe we're going to work with font size, font weight, and font style. So there's style, here's size, okay? All right, so let's go back, and I'm going to change my selector from a class back to a tag element, H1, and I'm just going to remove this class and just target H1. Usually a page has a single H1 element. That's sort of a general rule, but you can have more than one H1. So if we had an H1 elsewhere on the page, like down in the main content area, then we would do like we did in the previous, part 3, working with selectors. We would have header H1, and we could target that H1 specifically. If we had an H1 inside of, if we scroll down here inside of main, then we would have main H1. That way we could target those elements specifically, okay? All right, so we've changed our selector back to H1. Let's go ahead and add font size. And to start this, we're just going to work with an absolute value. And so we're going to use pixels. So we're going to say 36 px, 36 pixels, and then our semicolon. All right, so that's an absolute size, absolutely 36 pixels. And if we make sure I save, and if we refresh our page, we should see that our font has changed. Our H1 is changed. Okay, so now we're going to work with font weight. And again, you can continue to go back and forth between a resource like W3 Schools or your chapter. Okay, so as an example with font, I think it's up a little further, font weight. These are, sorry. There we go, font weight. So you can use normal, bold, bolder, thin. I tend to use numbers. It's very common to use numbers in font weight. So let's go back, and after font size, we'll type in font hyphen weight, colon, and book or normal is 400, and bold is 700, and ultra bold is 900. So we can go from 100 to 900, with 400 and 700 being the most common. Okay, so I'm just going to set this at 400, and we will have our semicolon. And then if we go back to our fonts, and I believe it was up a little further here, we would have font style. Okay, so our font style, we could have normal, italic, or oblique. I'm going to set our font style to normal. And if you want, you should be able to even copy code if you want to make sure you don't type something incorrectly. Now you'll notice I never leave a space between the colon and the property. and some people who write code do. It doesn't matter. You can have a space or not have a space. Just be consistent. So our font style is normal. So we'll save and we will preview. Okay. And you'll see that my font weight changed. So if we go back here and change this to 700 and we update, you'll see that our font weight in fact changes. Okay.